There is something that you have that AI never will. Not your creativity, not your intelligence, not your ability to communicate, and the more powerful AI becomes, the more important this one thing will be. You see, right now AI can write code, it can compose music, it can generate content of people that don't even exist, and over the coming years it will be able to do pretty much everything that we can do at the moment, and maybe even exceed the intelligence of all humans combined. Whether it creates a utopia alongside us or decides to wipe us all out, the one thing it will never be able to do is experience emotions.
Damn, that sucks.
It will never be able to experience sadness or happiness or anger or any of the other emotions that make up the spectrum. But why does this even matter? Because emotions drive most of our decisions without us even realizing it. It's the reason why you decide to get out of bed in the morning or hit the snooze button. Sometimes it's the feeling behind ordering a McDonald's at 1 a.m. or sticking to your diet. But there is this one particular feeling that you have that is very underestimated, and that feeling is your intuition, your gut, whatever you want to call it. So what is intuition? Well, it can be hard to articulate, but it's this weird feeling in your gut where you just know exactly what to do without really knowing how to explain why. In fact, sometimes if you explain the decision to someone else, they might see it as completely illogical. But it is actually one of the most powerful things that we possess, and there's actually this story that illustrates how powerful it can be. And it's from this book called Atomic Habits. Now, in essence, the book's around change your habits, change your life. But there's this one story of this woman who is a paramedic, and she's having dinner with her father-in-law. And without any sort of explanation, she notices that there's something off with her father-in-law, and she insists that he goes to the hospital. He said that he felt fine, but she kept insisting that he goes, and eventually he did. Fast forward a few more hours, and he was actually undergoing life-saving surgery because he was at risk of having a heart attack. What happened is one of his arteries had a major blockage, and when this happens, the body sends blood to major organs and away from areas like the skin. And this can lead to a slight change in the appearance of one's face, something that you and I would not be able to detect at all. But because this woman had so much experience working with cardiac patients, she had this intuitive sense where she could spot if someone was at risk of undergoing a cardiac arrest. Truth be told, we don't entirely know what intuition is. Sigmund Freud said, "The mind is like an iceberg, it floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water." He believed that it was the unconscious mind that was responsible for intuition. But other psychologists like Carl Jung believed that it was connected to something deeper, to a collective consciousness, to God, whatever label you want to give it. So what does this actually mean for you? Well, in the past, intelligence used to be the rarest commodity. And biologically, it is very rare, but digitally it's becoming less and less so. A teenager with ChatGPT can create their own custom app within a few weeks or even a few days, something that used to take software engineers months or even years to build with an entire team. Intelligence is becoming less of a superpower, but intuition is. You see, the thing is with AI is no matter how much more intelligent it becomes, it will never be able to create and develop its own intuition. It will never have that sense of self, its own compass to guide it on its own. In fact, it will probably always have a human that is guiding its behaviors. The world is going to change pretty quickly over the next 5 years. More automation, more noise, more AI-generated content, and what's going to happen is a lot of people, they're going to outsource their thinking to AI models, especially as they become even more intelligent. But I would say try to avoid letting AI take care of most of your decisions and decide for you. It's okay to outsource some of your decisions to it, especially in areas where it is more knowledgeable than you, but when it comes to big decisions, try not to lose that edge of trusting your intuition, of trusting your gut. Could AI ever develop feelings though? Could it develop its own intuition? Could it experience joy or happiness or sadness? Now, I'll probably create a whole separate video on this, on whether or not AI will ever be conscious. But in a nutshell, I think it maybe could, just not in the same definition as our consciousness. Right now, when you ask a large language model, say ChatGPT, a question, it is not on for the entire time. As soon as you send your input, it processes that input, it exists momentarily and generates an output, and then it turns off. In other words, it is stateless. But what if after processing your input, it was still on? What if it never got turned off? It was always listening, regardless of whether or not you were there. Because that's the case with us. You were always on. You were always in your own head from the moment you were born to the moment that you die. And if I asked you a question, you don't just suddenly boot up, you don't just suddenly turn on to answer this one question and then turn off. No, you're here for the entire time that you are alive. But what happens when you connect an AI to some hardware, where you connect it to some sensors, where it can process audio and vision, and it has a way of storing events and experiences like memory, just like us? What will it actually do? Would it look around? Would it explore the world around it? Well, it will probably be instructed to do something in particular, but regardless of what it actually does, it will never have feelings. It will never have emotions like me and you. Even right now, if you go on ChatGPT and you ask it to describe the feeling of happiness, it may give you a very accurate description, but that is based off of all the information it's been trained on what humans have shared about what the feeling of happiness is like. But it's never actually experienced that feeling itself. I actually have a video, Can Machines Think, which describes more about how these models generate the responses, so I'll put that in the description if you want to check that out after this. But anyways, back to the video. Now, why did I bring this up in today's video? Well, over the thousands of hours that I've used AI to generate content, to write code, to come up with video ideas like the one that you're watching right now, I've noticed that things that used to be innately human, like creativity, like originality, are becoming less and less so. And I came to the conclusion that AI would probably never be able to experience emotions, at least not in the way in which we do. But I could be wrong. This is just my opinion, this is just my perspective, and who knows, maybe one day someone will create an AI that becomes somewhat sentient, that develops its own feelings. But also feel free to drop a comment below on any of the other things you think AI won't be able to do that we can actually do. And also, if there's ever been any questions on your mind around AI that you'd like to see covered in a video, feel free to drop the idea below and I'll take a look at it. Anyways, that's been Jado AI. Thank you for watching if you still are. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.